Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're actually going to talk about comic books again.
Sadly.
What is going on? We actually haven't talked much about comics lately, but we've been doing a lot of comic book videos because it does seem like there's a lot of news in regards to comics and the industry changing. And in this video, we're going to talk about the graphic novel lists, and of course, manga dominates. Unless you go to another list in which I Am Not Starfire is number 17.
Yeah, that's the internal list for the U.S. only, isn't it? Or no, what is that for shops?
Comic Hub.
Yeah,
there's like 100 shops or something that they. So we're gonna talk about that, and we got to give a hat tip to Yellow Flash, who actually brought that to our attention, and then we're gonna talk about ComiXology. ComiXology is shutting down its non-Amazon site, and they're gonna integrate closer with the Amazon site, which is going to be really weird because from the sounds of it, comic book content is just going to be thrown in with Kindle content.
You know, honestly, I'm surprised they didn't do this sooner. I thought they would do this a while ago.
Yeah, I mean, they've been kind of closing it down by degrees. They shut down DC Comics app, I guess, but I don't think it's a very good idea because ComiXology, again, it was, there were some people who just bought comics digitally, and it was nice to have the app that you could just go through your comic book collection. Now it sounds like they're just going to throw everything in with Kindle. It's just comic books are just books and they just want to run Kindle. So I don't know what's going to happen. People aren't real happy about it. It seems like, Submit is not what it used to be, where you could submit your own independent comics and get them put in ComiXology, but now they just want you to go through Kindle self-publishing. So it's like, oh geez. But that's, when Amazon buys it, like you said, I'm surprised it took this long.
I am surprised it took this long, yes.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that too. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Over 234,000 subs. Thank you so much for the support. Greatly appreciated. Definitely. And we do talk about comics. We make comics. We talk about comics. We talk about animation, talk about pop culture, whatever interests us that day. And we've been watching the I Am Not Starfire spectacular.
I wouldn't say spectacular.
Spectacular failure right here. 159,000 downvotes on YouTube. Thinking, well, this book is going to be a complete disaster. And I don't think it's selling terribly well. I went out to Amazon, and according to Amazon, the reviews aren't great.
Yeah, but then people will be like, review bombing.
Yeah, but it's not ranking very high either. It just came out, and it's really not. It's number 51,000 in books.
Oh, number 19 in young. That's very specific. Young adult coming of age. That's very specific.
I love how Amazon has all these really specific categories.
There's probably 20 in number. There's probably 20 books in the young adult coming of age category.
It's number 1 in young adult coming of age comics featuring LGBTQ plus daughters of established superheroes from other franchises. It's number 1 this week. So I kind of was thinking, okay, it's not really selling that well. But if you go out to ICV2, again, hat tip to Yellow Flash, they have the top 20 graphic novels for August 2021, according to Comic Shop data. Now, this is way different than just the whole market, because if you go out to BookScan, it's all manga. Manga.
Yes.
And BookScan takes into account everything, like Walmart and booksellers and Amazon, all that stuff is tracked by BookScan. So that's the normie audience, right? This list right here is a very small list using Comic Hub. So it's like 100 comic book shops.
Yes, it says, as this is a small, non-random sample of over 3,000 stores selling American comics worldwide. These rankings may not be typical for all stores, but do represent a variety of locations and store emphases.
Yeah, so there are only 100 stores using Comic Hub. So it's very possible that
100 stores. This is from 100 stores.
Yeah, and it's supposed to represent all 3,000.
Let me guess what the 100 stores are.
Portland. Portland, Brooklyn,
LA,
LA. Well, a lot of the LA shops closed down. But yeah, it's going to be very cherry picked. So this is not representative of all comic shops. So according to The over 100 stores using Comic Hub.
I didn't even see the 100 part. Jeez.
Yeah,
Small, non-random.
That's supposed to represent all 3,000.
No, I said it's non-random. It's not even a random sampling. A small non-random. So they flat out say this cherry-picked. Non-random, cherry-picked.
Cherry-picked. So this is collected from August 1st to August 28th. Number 17. I Am Not Starfire.
They don't tell you how many copies were sold.
No, they do not. They do not. That we'll have to wait on. And it's getting really hard. It's getting really hard to track data on comic sales because it used to be everything kind of went through, it was either BookScan or it went through Diamond because everybody used Diamond. But now, the big two are pulling away from Diamond. So now you got to track sales from other channels. But I mean, the long and short of it is, given this is a DC title, given it had a lot of media attention, even if it was negative media attention, the book's not selling that well. It's really not. And again, these, the stores using Comic Hub, they probably are in like major metropolitan areas. I mean, God, I don't even know how many comic shops are in Portland. There's what? 50.
Then there's the whole issue too that which we know works on the New York Times bestseller list, that there are certain stores that the books that are counted towards for the New York Times bestseller list. So what these publishers do is they go and buy back those books to try to inflate the sellers list. Now, I know for a fact that some of these publishers for comics have in fact gone and bought their own damn books to elevate the sales numbers, and then they end up like sold to places like Ollie's not long later because they bought them and then they're writing them off as a loss and then they resell them. So it's completely possible too that any of these titles, now or other times, could have been bought if it goes by a random sampling at only 100 stores. No, non-random sampling at 100 stores. They know which stores they count. They just send people in to buy their books.
Yeah. And again, there's an entire article. I think it's out on, I think it was the New York Observer did an article about 4 or 5 years ago talking about how easy it was to game the New York Times bestseller list. Because they do. A lot of these promotional places, if you hire somebody to promote your book, they have a short list of the stores in the city or in the country that count toward the New York Times bestseller list, and they'll just go buy books from those shops. And same here. You could be like, not saying that DC's going to go out of their way to do this, but if it's only 100 stores you're using Comic Hub, it's a lot easier than trying to buy from like every damn Walmart in the country. It's like, well, let's just buy a bunch of books from, but it is easy to game these lists. I mean, and it is a marketing tool because, once you're on the New York Times bestseller list or once you get an Eisner Award or whatever the deal is, you can throw a gold label on the book cover. And the librarians love it.
Yes.
Because they don't know what to buy a lot of times. They're like, why are the kids reading these? Oh, this one's won an award. That must be good.
Oh, we have to make sure that we're promoting diversity and inclusion. So, and we see this a lot. Like, even if the market isn't there for it, it's going to like do really well just because of what it is. It'll probably win awards next year at the award things because how stunning and brave it is or whatever. And this happens all the time, which again, the awards are pretty much, kind of cheated too, but that's another story. Anyway, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say it's Avatar and Demon Slayer on this list too, so JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So yeah, it's way down the list here. Paper Girls, which is still selling well. Again, this is why I think, you were saying about Portland and Brooklyn.
Yeah, I don't buy this for 1 minute. I'm sorry.
Because Paper Girls has fallen off the radar for most people, but it is a very progressive comic. So.
Yes, but the I Am Not Starfire has taken so much. People, unless people are buying it because they're like, just to say they have a copy of it, which is possible as well. They had to turn the comments off. This is the ratio, how many people hated it.
Yeah. Unless
they're buying it just to shit on it, which is also very possible. I question it.
Yeah, I question it too. So here's the actual list with BookScan numbers from, all the normies and everybody. And it's all manga again. I mean,
like it has been.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, like this one here. I don't know if it's that volume was below her on the other one, but it's number 1 on this list. I don't know if it's that necessarily that volume, but I'm just saying, isn't that a little weird?
It's a little weird. I don't think there's anything that's Western.
Well, Censor, the Censor was the top of the list on the other list.
Yeah.
So that lines up.
Yeah, I mean we're
talking.
These
other ones line up.
Yeah, we're talking almost all manga. It is all manga. Yeah, I mean, you've got American publishers here. You've got Dark Horse, but they've been publishing manga for years, and it's Berserk.
Now, here they tell you the quantity, too.
Yeah, you actually get, 50,000, 44,000, So yeah, I mean, this is a more accurate representation of what's
Here,
selling.
wait, I want to see something real quick. Let me see the other list. And it was the same volume. Volume 11, that's the same volume, right?
What sensor? Yeah.
No, this one here. And now it's showing up on this list. Was it volume 11? Yeah. Now they're saying there's 50,000 copies sold, number one on this list, right?
Yeah, but
and then they're not showing you how many copies, but it's supposed to be beneath I Am Not Starfire?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I call bull crap.
Well, I think ICV2's even like, I mean, look, the way they say it, like, they're a very factual, numbers driven website, and they're even like, during the period for which these reports were generated, there were over 100 stores using Comics Hub. This is a small, non-random sample. This means we know this is a very, very small sampling of comic shops. So just disclaimer, you know, so they know.
Yes, because I mean, this doesn't make any sense that it's below I Am Not Starfire in the comic shops, but overall it's number one.
Because most people...
That's really weird.
Well, you have to realize that most people who buy manga... They're buying from bookstores. They're not buying from comic shops.
Well, I understand that. I'm saying that, you know, but it's just, I just think it's funny.
Oh, it is.
Like, you know, not ha funny, but like, funny.
Yeah. Well, speaking of we're gonna talk about
the... Make you go, now I'm dated.
Anyway. ComiXology. ComiXology announces a new app, but they're shuttering their non-Amazon website. It sounds to me like they're just gonna roll ComiXology into Amazon.
Okay, so with this new app, is that going to mean people are going to just keep what they bought already and everything else is going to be...
Yeah, I mean, you can currently, as far as I know, at least the comics I own, you can read them either through Kindle or you can read them on the ComiXology app. I think what they're planning on doing is just making it part of Kindle. So this is coming from Comic Book Resources, which has been forced to actually talk more about comic books lately. Because so many changes in the industry. And they bring this up. They said that, the digital comic landscape is heating up with everybody going to Substack. Scott Snyder, Hickman, Lemire, Tinian, Nick Spencer, and now ComiXology is announcing some major changes in the digital comic book company going forward. ComiXology CEO David Steinberger released a letter revealing upcoming updates to the company over the course of the fall, including a new app and the shutting down of the company's external website as it becomes fully integrated into Amazon.com.
Sorry, I saw a cute little bunny on that commercial. Not this one. It was on there before, and that's why I laughed. Go ahead.
Oh, I thought you were laughing.
I was laughing at the bunny. It was so cute. Anyway, go ahead.
Go ahead. People are like, yeah, you should put, stop putting the ads in the video. It's like, we can't. They won't let you go to the website if you don't put ads on the video. Figure we're reading some of their content, so the least we can do is give them the ad revenue,
That's right?
I mean, the announcement of a new app comes with the promise of much better filters and sorting capabilities, which have long been an area where ComiXology has drawn criticism. The most attention-getting part of the announcement, though, is that ComiXology would cease to exist as a separate website, with the external website eventually redirecting to a new section of Amazon hosting ComiXology material.
Okay, so it sounds to me like they're going to have a new section that's basically ComiXology on Amazon, so you'll still be able to sort it by comics then, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So it doesn't sound like it's going to be that much different.
It takes you to Kindle Comics.
Okay, so they're just basically changing it to Kindle Comics.
Kindle Comics,
okay, gotcha.
So there we go. Which, again, I'm surprised it took this long. But
yeah, I am too.
There are so many people that are used to reading their comics through the app and through, just going to the ComiXology site.
I mean, it doesn't seem that's going to be much of a difference other than it's Kindle Comics instead of ComiXology.
Well, they want to upsell you. So, okay, you're reading a comic that has dogs in it. Here, you can buy some dog food while you're...
That's probably true.
I mean, I'm not kidding.
You're not kidding.
Yeah, they're like, oh, hey, I see you like the X-Men.
Here's a bunch of X-Men merch you can buy.
Here's a bunch of X-Men
and DVDs.
DVDs and toys and video games and crap.
Yeah,
that's why they're doing it.
Yeah, you're right.
The other changes seem geared toward fully integrating the ComiXology experience with the Amazon user experience. The letter notes that Kindle Unlimited and Prime members will be able to borrow from a large library of graphic novels and manga on the ComiXology app. You can already do that, I think, in select countries. Therefore, it seems that this is part of a big push toward putting Amazon's eggs into one cohesive basket while still allowing the separate ComiXology app. Even though the letter notes that soon you'll be able to read purchases from ComiXology on Kindle, giving you more flexibility to decide where and how you read your books, which certainly suggests that the ultimate goal here is to streamline the digital reading experience for Amazon users, no matter what service you're on. I already do that, though. I can already read comics through Kindle, right? So I don't understand what the big...
So I'm not really understanding what this is they're trying to say, because they're basically saying that you're still using the ComiXology app.
They're basically nuking ComiXology, and they're just going to make the comics part of Kindle. Now, this is going to be, I think, a problem for a lot of people, because ComiXology is where people go for comics. If your comic books are getting lost in the soup of Kindle, it's going to be much, much harder to find your stuff.
That's true, because at least it was ComiXology. Well, they said that they're going to put a comics section, though, right? Isn't it a comics section?
Yeah, but it's going to push the most popular stuff. I mean, ComiXology actually had sections dedicated to certain genres or dedicated to independent comics.
To try to give people a chance to be found. Yeah.
And I don't think that's going to be the case now.
Probably not.
Because here we have, Graham, I think it's Graham McMillan, folding ComiXology into Amazon feels like something that more people should talk about. Jody Troutman says, I got an email. ComiXology Submit is dead. Previous Submit books are opt-in only for the new marketplace. Future comics only published through Kindle. So this is going to be interesting because, like I said, it's going to be much, much harder for independent creators to
get found.
It's just like Kindle. Like anybody can put a book on Kindle.
See, to me, I guess it's weird for me because, like, we were doing webcomics before, and it was really hard to get found then.
Yeah.
So I just think it's like, same shit, different day. Because it was already hard to be found. You could submit to ComiXology like people did, and they didn't get picked up on ComiXology. So for many people, it's like, well, nothing's changed. At least with Kindle, you can submit your own stuff.
Yeah.
So there is that, because people submitted on ComiXology and they were rejected, but you can go put your stuff on Kindle.
Yeah, pretty much anybody can get something on Kindle.
So in a way, I think it gives you more of a chance in some ways.
Well, this is interesting though. This is a big one. Insofar as I can tell, new publishers will have to abide by Kindle's royalty split, which is only 35% for publishers. ComiXology was for 50%. You can qualify for 70% royalty if you can prove your ebook is being listed at 20% below the physical book's list price, which does not actually help if you're digital only.
Right, yeah.
This is troubling for a consumer. Do I still support ComiXology with my Amazon subscription? Amazon owns some or all of they own all of ComiXology. Mm-hmm. About like 10 years ago. It's been a
that's
long
why
time.
I said I'm really surprised it took this long for them to do something like this. I really am.
Yeah, I wish I had the know-how and financing to create a good place for indie comics. A storefront designed for digital only.
Well, that was webcomics.
That was called webcomics.
And now it's called Webtoon.
That's called Webtoon. Yeah. This is a really interesting development. It is, I'm gonna be honest, it is gonna make it harder for independent creators to get found. I mean, it really is, because Kindle is really the only way you can get found on Kindle is if you attach yourself. Looks like some.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that. Yeah, because that's what we keep telling people.
Really, the only way to get found is on Kindle is to attach yourself to a bigger property. Like, I mean, you look at some of the top graphic novels for the longest time. It was like bootleg Minecraft graphic novels.
Oh, I remember those. Yes, or they were YouTuber had a platform.
YouTuber had platform.
Books, yeah.
If you have an existing platform, I mean, to be honest, if you have an existing platform, it's easy to sell anything. I mean, that's the thing. If you're a YouTuber with 15 million subscribers and you say, go buy my book on Amazon, statistically, people are going to go buy the book on Amazon. Also, they're pushing authors to pay them to advertise through Amazon too.
Yeah, they do that.
You can promote your Kindle books.
But the flip side of that is, if you want to pay to play, you might get boosted up on the search list. You're going to be boosted up on how many you sell. Sometimes that works out to your advantage. It just depends.
The thing is, and this is the truth of it. It's you talk about pay to play, and that's anything. A lot of independent creators
even going to Disney parks, it's going to be pay to play. Anyway,
they want to get found, but they don't want to spend anything. They don't want to spend anything on advertising. They don't want to spend anything on buying, or hiring artists. They don't want to spend anything.
Yeah, it was always funny to me when they have these webcomic like discussion groups. There'd always be like countless threads. How do I get big without spending money? How do I get found? There's so many people I'm coming in now, and there's so many other people. How do I get found? And usually the answers were network with other creators. And I'm like, but then it's just, what happens is it just becomes, very incestuous in the fact that everybody's backing each other, but the money's not really going anywhere. It's just being recycled. And the eyeballs aren't new people. It's just the same people, because if I watch you, you're going to watch me. So then everybody just kind of stays on the same level. But you can do things like, hire better name people, pay for advertising, stuff like that. But a lot of people don't want to do that. Well, I want to do it for free. Heck, a lot of people are like, I'm a writer, I want an artist for free. That happens all the time.
Yeah, so it's definitely going to change. It's going to change things, but it's not really going to change them that much. It's always been pay to play, everything. Mm-hmm. And this is the same complaint that independent comics creators have when they are, trying to get crowdfunded or whatever. They don't have a platform. They're kind of depending on the platform to promote them, and that's not how it works. Mm-mm. Like, you're more than ever, you're gonna have to promote your own stuff. You're gonna have to figure out a way to promote it. You're gonna have to build a platform someplace. Even Substack. Everybody's like, oh, Substack deal. Yeah. The reason they're giving people money on Substack is because they have audiences. Mm-hmm. And they're gonna bring audiences to Substack, and that audience is gonna pay for their content. Has value. And that's what they're doing. And eventually they'll probably open it up to, right now anybody can go over there and publish, but it doesn't mean you're going to get found.
No, but the good news is, though, it's early on, that if you go there now, you have a better shot probably of, building an audience over there. So
that is true. So we're going to wrap this one up.
Yep.
All right, guys. So please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.
Bye.